In this video, I want to cover diffusion with teens. It's not so much different than doing diffusion with adults. It's just the context is a little bit different with teens. We want to make it a little bit more friendly, a little bit more adolescent-like, and make them a little bit more comfortable with that idea. So some of the metaphors that we use, or some of the language that we use, changes somewhat, but we're still looking to deliver the same message, which is to be able to watch thoughts, to be able to see the process of thinking rather than getting caught up in those thoughts. So we're really going out and saying, can we distance ourselves from the content of the thoughts? And there are really nice, gentle and kind ways that we can go out and do this with teens in particular. There's one that I want to share with you in a moment, but it's about, a lot of this is about the language and the way that we can describe this to our adolescents and teens that we work with. So what often happens is teens get caught up in thoughts, they get caught up particularly in the content of these thoughts, and they take them on as being factual. They fuse with them, they try and push them away, they try and control to avoid and so on, to try and get rid of the message within these thoughts or within these comments from others and so on. So we want to go out and switch that around, I suppose, diffuse a little bit from it and teach them that they are actually thoughts rather than the factual content within that. So something that I like to start with, and I'm using a little bit of a language that they can use, is to look at Facebook. Now, all kids, well, most teens, most adolescents are on Facebook. It's a big social medium. They do a lot of conversation and communication with their peers and so on, whether they're at school at the time or when they leave school. So it's a constant discussion, and more importantly, it's a discussion that's open to all of their peers. So it's very important. So we want to look at Facebook as a medium or a metaphor or a type of approach that we can deliver diffusion. So we know that there are these Facebook statuses or updates, and we want to look at a thought being that status. So a thought, for example, with a teen might be, they don't like me. Now, they don't like me feels very, very, very consuming and very powerful when I go out and I hear that in terms of just this content. They don't like me. It's the world doesn't go out and like me. And in actual fact, we're trying to separate that a little bit and have this experience of I am seeing this as a Facebook update. So we can see this as something popping in. It's a status, except in the world of Facebook, it remains there. As when we go out and we change this up in terms of in the mind, the status can be there and then it kind of falls away, or there's a delete button and it goes away. Now, we don't control the delete button as to when it's going to leave, but it fades away. So it's never there as a permanent fixture. It comes and goes. So we want to be saying there's another Facebook status update. And in actual fact, the Facebook status update is feeding so quickly that it's too hard to even catch up. Because if all these thoughts are just going down on the page, we don't even get a chance to read them because they're coming down so quickly. So it kind of loses some of that effect. If I were to take a Facebook status, a Facebook page, and on the wall, we put every single thought that was coming into the mind, and we just popped it up. Anyone that was looking at it would not be able to go out and read it or comprehend it because it moves so quickly. And we want to actually talk about that and discuss that as a moving, progressing stream of thought rather than being the fact. Because the fact of they don't like me is very different to a Facebook status about people don't like me. It's not necessarily an accurate sense. Another way that we can do it is looking at Twitter. Twitter's very popular with kids. They like to be tweeting messages and comments and so on and so forth. So we could go out and we can put that in and say, sounds like another tweet. And I like to use a mind tweet because kids can really go out and connect with that. It sounds like a mind tweet. The mind's constantly tweeting. It's tweeting comments. It's tweeting criticisms. It's tweeting judgments. It's tweeting questions. It's tweeting answers. It's tweeting assumptions. It's constantly giving us tweets, just like the mind is giving us updates, these status updates, and we want to discuss it in that way. It's a very, very powerful delivery method with teens, with adolescents. They really enjoy this. And in actual fact, you could go out and bring up Facebook and sort of look at what it would be like if we just put in a whole lot of messages and we just tweeted. People get very bored of it. No one reads it. And sometimes we would in actual fact miss a whole lot, and we do. We'd have to go back in time to see what they all are and how they reflect or respond to us right now. Very powerful stuff. Now, the final one that I wanted to discuss and to look at is a good friend of mine that I call Talking Tom. Now, Talking Tom is it's an app that you can get online or on your phone, and it's basically a cat. In this instance, it's a cat that when I speak to the cat will speak back, but it will put it into a very funny voice, and it will repeat exactly what I've said to it, but in a different voice. So it diffuses immediately. It's a very light-hearted approach, just like a mind tweet is a pretty light-hearted approach. A Facebook status update, it's a little bit more light-hearted as well. We don't want to be so serious about it. So I'll introduce you to Tom, and we'll say they don't like me, and we'll see what Tom says back and how he does that. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
They don't like me.
They don't like me.
Everyone thinks I'm stupid.
Everyone thinks I'm stupid.
I'm never going to fit in.
I'm never going to fit in.
Now, as you can see, it straight away puts a bit of a smile on your face because it diffuses from the message. The message is somewhat overtaken by the actual humour in delivering in a different way. And in actual fact, we can do this with adults alike. However, it's a very playful way that kids will just connect with straight away. And there are other apps out there as well. I think there's Talking Gina is a giraffe, Talking Tom is a cat, and there's a whole lot of other ones as well that you can go out and look up. They do change over time, so just see what's available at the time. And in actual fact, most of the teens will already have these on their phones, or you'll be able to take it out and use that in session. So really powerful tools. We're trying to be light-hearted. Diffusion is about not taking these thoughts too seriously and being able to identify that they are thoughts. So it's a mind tweet. It's a thought. It's this different sounds that come out of Talking Tom. We take it a whole lot less seriously, light-hearted, in a jokey way. And in that way we diffuse it. The message here, though, is in actual fact not to be taking thoughts in a literal sense, that there's lots of different thoughts. And the message is to be able to just hold a thought, look at it in a different way, in actual fact identify that it's a thought, see the process of thought, and not get caught up in it, to somewhat diffuse. Hold it lightly. So there's three different methods that we can use: the Facebook status, the mind tweet, and Talking Tom. So have a really good time with that, have a good laugh, and I'm sure you'll find that really useful with your teens. Take care.